is your choice to make a little mockery, it won't do. Further down the line, still surrendering, trying harder to forgive you. Candlelight has gone out. Some will win and some will lose. Nothing much else to say. Thought I was searching for something. Door has closed, not a sound. Take a look as I am now. Still I smile but don't speak. Will you please slow down? Slow down. Slow down, slow down, slow down. If we try to believe in anything greater than a miracle, it wouldn't be this difficult. If we try to be a negative bull, yeah, we could be taking control, yeah. If we try to believe in anything greater than a miracle, it wouldn't be this difficult. If we try to be a negative bull, yeah, we could be taking control, yeah. Negative bull, yeah, we could be taking control, yeah. Negative bull, yeah, we could be taking control, yeah. Negative bull, yeah, we could be taking control, yeah. Negative bull, yeah, we could be taking control, yeah.
Welcome to the start of the Corporate Esports Association 2024 Cup. This is the beginning of the preseason where some of the greatest corporate minds across America get to fight for the right to not only be the best, but to raise a lot of lovely money for charity as well. I'm joined here with RallyingCry. Give me a happy.
Pleasure to be here.
First time I've seen you is on the Twitch screen right here. You've got the red glowy mic. We're live in the preseason, which is largely a time for these teams to sort of build up their procedures and get themselves prepared as a five. As we have a team from Discord against a team from Capital One playing out today. We've not seen any of the teams so far. This will be a great time to get a look at the level of play and get a look at just some of our players already. So, how are you feeling today about your first time casting in a while, I guess?
Well, I've casted on many occasions. Even today, I've done some casting. This is my first time, I'd say, for a sort of official role. So yeah, I'm very excited about it.
Today, I've been zoned out there completely. We have a huge variety of teams across this tournament. We've got teams from companies like Discord, Facebook, Microsoft, Amazon. Several companies have multiple teams. Some of them have brilliant names. We'll get to those later, and all of which have picked a charity to raise some great money for if they win the end of the tournament. As we go over a killer 16 weeks. And we are just part of the fantastic team that will be bringing you some of those games every single week. So we're looking to hear from some of the teams now, as we have just started to get our lobby up and away. So, is there anything that struck you so far, stood out to you? You can talk about some of these teams if you want, maybe some of their beautiful names, some of their beautiful charities. Go ahead. We have the list.
Yeah, I think my favourite name's got to be Alexa Zeusalt now.
If I had Alexa, I would have turned it off.
Yeah, probably, because we're going to be calling out their team name quite a lot. What I like about these teams is they've all pretty much tried to pick a name that's related to their company, and there's a lot of puns here. Some of them good, some of them questionable, but that's up for you guys to decide. Red Hat Lynx Assassins. I don't know if anyone's familiar with the Red Hat company, making Linux distribution for corporations to use. I think the company I work for used that once. But yeah, I'm really excited to see the level of play at this tournament. Obviously, most people have probably been watching the Omega League. We have, some really high quality games there, and I'm interested to see if the meta in the current pro scene is going to be mirrored by this tournament, or whether we're going to get something completely different.
At the same time, we are here mostly to have fun. The best matches are going to be the times where two of the same company face off against each other. Google got a lot of teams. Amazon got a lot of teams. I mean, I think after some of these matches, if they end up close, office politics are never going to be the same again. I mean, you're going to be trying to send an email off to a guy and you think, he's the guy that yanked me 3 times. That sucks. I don't want to play you.
Oh, yeah, I kind of almost forgot about, because there's so many teams from some of the bigger companies like Google and Amazon, there's going to be a lot of rivalry, internal rivalry. So, yeah, definitely looking forward to that. And hopefully they'll keep it civil and keep it fun, but there'll be a bit of banter as well.
Right, so if you're not familiar with the CEA format or what they do for the teams and the world, we got a video just for you. Should be ready to go.
So I work at Amazon. I'm actually part of the Ops Tech IT team, which is just like operations IT. Aside from that, I just pretty much game. I'm at home with my fiance and 4 cats and taking care of our newborn son.
We are here today for the Corporate Esports Association Overwatch 2020 Spring Playoffs. It is going to be a spectacular day. After most of it only does get one as the Blizzard comes out on the backside. T also going to find the Deadeye onto Specs on the high ground. Google has to press on the pedal to try and touch this point. And they're not! Oh, it comes up short. Amazon Fire Force will be able to take Volskaya Industries.
CEA to me is like an organization that pulls together a lot of these like top companies around the world. I think it's like a great team building function, and then also it's for a great cause. It's for charity.
And since 2 members showed up in the top lane, they're immediately going to go for the dive in the mid lane with the damage onto Pandora. They're going to be able to pick up the kill twice over for Apocalypse. Everyone else is going to be running for the hills. Nobody wants to be able to join in this fight. With the minions there, the Baron's still on everybody. This is going to be the grand finals for Team Amazon Stock Dip. They've got the money, $5,000 for St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. They have secured it for themselves with a 3-0 victory.
Yeah, so like losing to Adobe was like pretty heartbreaking. I got like the 2nd place trophy in the mail. I'll see it like every day. I'm like, it's like a reminder, like you have to do better. You always have to like somebody out there is better than you. Like you should always try to be the best. But like we're definitely gonna come back way stronger, way better. We don't want to drop another game during the season. We definitely don't want to lose in grand finals.
Adobe Illustrators taking this next map.
So my favorite team name from that, we're not going to get to see it here, Adobe Illustrators. I mean, it was the Overwatch team, you got Tracer, that's perfect.
Yeah, it's all about those great puns. Very important part of choosing a good team name.
Well, everybody's signing up for a bit of fun. I remember last tournaments I did would involve students across the country signing up for fun, and we had some strong performances and some people that just showed up every week to get battered. That was us, by the way. We were the ones that signed up to get battered. That was brilliant.
Unlucky.
So this week we can move in on 2 or more of the teams. I believe this is a preseason game. It doesn't count towards much, but it's our time to sort of get the teams prepared for the environment and get, I'll be honest, ourselves prepared for the environment. Hate to say it. We have Discord and Capital One's team, What's in Your Warlock? So first of all, I can't be too harsh to Discord here because they're kind of running some of the back end here, and I have a feeling that if we say something too mean, they will shut this whole operation down. But they didn't come up with a pun, and they're one of the only teams that did that. Gonna have to just mention that one.
Yeah, their team name is just Discord. That's Discord's team name. No creativity there, but maybe we'll see some creativity in their Dota playstyle. So,
Yes,
let's be optimistic.
Just pick. Let's see. I had a really good joke going up there of a hero name to pick, and I forgot all the heroes in the game. Pick techies, maybe. Maybe I'll just say that every single week until that happens. We'll be here all night.
One team will definitely do it. I bet there'll be at least a techies game.
I hope we get to see the techies game. Apparently they do have a name. Fail of Discord. Okay, fair enough. Fail of Discord they are then.
All right. So, Fail of Discord. Oh yeah, Veil of Discord.
Oh, that works. That works so well. We were literally just like having this conversation right in front of me, saying, "Oh, we don't really get that name," and then you pointed that out, and we all just lit alive. We're like, "Yes, we know the pun now."
That's good. Yeah. Okay. They've redeemed themselves instantly.
Yes. We've also got What's in Your Warlock from Capital One, who are currently working on just getting some of their players in the lobby too. What's in Your Warlock? Everybody seems to find this name funny, and I haven't gotten it yet. Can you please just... I'm sorry. Can you help me out here?
I hoped that you knew what was going on, to be fair. Capital One. What's in Your Warlock? I like Fail of Discord, though.
Yeah, they've done it. They've done it for us. They've done it for us. Indeed. It looks like we get some players coming in, so I can start taking a little peek at some of these players and finding out a little bit of information about them. I'm not going to go full in for their Dota Buff Pro details, but it is nice to know roughly what we're dealing with. We have a Tinker player. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to stop looking now.
You're not a fan of the Tinker?
I hate him less than I used to, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, he's not really that popular at the moment. I don't think we saw him at all in Omega League. That might be wrong, but
he's never popular with pros. He's one of those heroes you can just kind of like push to the pub side. I mean, have you been playing much with the Battle Pass going on right now? It's just getting to an end right now.
I've been playing a lot, pretty much this entire Battle Pass season. I've been playing a lot of Dota myself. Yeah, Tinker's definitely not a hero you see a lot of. I think the meta is in quite a good place at the moment. You know, I've played since 2011. And I've pretty much been playing on and off ever since the start, dipping in and out here and there. And there's been a lot of good patches, a lot of bad patches. I'm sure everyone remembers the ho-ho-ha-ha sniper patch, which was absolutely dreadful. But I really like the current meta. The POS 4 hero pool is massive. You can pretty much play any hero in any role. And I don't know if anyone's been watching. Pudge was always played in any role.
No, dude, you just don't. You just don't. Okay.
Pudge is always popular. You can't do anything about it. But I've been watching Notel stream recently, or maybe it's mostly Zai who's doing the streaming, and Notel always seems to feature in his games. But Notel is literally playing every single hero in the game, POS 5. He did POS 5 Underlord. I saw POS 5 Brewmaster. I think he had a Magnus POS 5 in Omega League. We've seen, basically, you can put any hero in any role in the current meta, and you can still have a functioning team. So that's why I'm a massive fan of this patch. And it's been a lot of fun to play, even though I lost all my double downs. Apart from that, it's been...
You always lose your double downs.
Always. Yeah.
I really, I hate to be that sort of guy that says things like this, but because it sounds like a bit of a flex, but I'm looking for my third Aegis this year, but I'm relying on Immortal Freeze to like push me up because I'm very, very close, around 870 something. And the Immortal Free, they come with the 50 levels usually. And if Valve cut it too close...
Is it 50?
Usually. But like, because I've literally like 50 of those treasures, I open enough of those things. But Valve are really cutting it close with this final Immortal. Really cutting it close.
To release Immortal Treasure 3 like 2 or 3 days before the Battle Pass ends, I'm very confident they're going to extend it again. That's my call anyway.
We like to hope, we like to believe. We're seeing some players for them now, so I can look at some of these players have good names as well. We have Divine Rapier Enthusiast. They've recolored the Veil of Discord logo
Oh.
to like kind of look like Discord's logo.
Oh yeah, they have kind of like an inverted Veil of Discord.
Yeah, we have Marmar Black Sheep in here as well.
Ecom Bokum, that's from Banjo and Kazooie and Nintendo 64.
Ecom. I didn't realize that until you called it out, but like it's obvious now. Rob
It
Slark.
is when you say that, yeah.
We're gonna have to probably shorten Ezio at Auditore della Frienza to just Ezio. Probably.
Oh yeah, Assassin's Creed. Good throwback there.
We promised that Ice Frog is coming to one of these teams, so this is the time we're going to reveal it. They've said it out in the chat. Ice Frog is the 5th, so oh my goodness. We're going to have a good reveal today on CEA. You've been watching, you think, oh, I'm just going to watch some corporate Dota, and Ice Frog shows up out of the blue.
Would be pretty good.
What if Valve entered? Valve could just enter this. I mean,
Valve.
Gabe Newell plays a lot of Dota, apparently.
Well, he does say, I don't know how much he plays, but he always said in any interview, yes, he does play Dota. And this may be from a very long time ago, but reportedly his favorite hero is Sand King. Don't know if that's still true. But imagine Gabe Newell being in your pub game. You don't know, because he's obviously not going to say Gabe Newell, and then you wouldn't believe it anyway. You flame him, and you just instantly, your Steam account's deleted. It's all gone.
Yeah.
Just completely vanished.
Gabe Newell is currently stuck in New Zealand. He travelled there on holiday right as the country locked down. And he's still just stuck there in the middle of the other side of the world on the opposite time zone.
Well, it's not really stuck, actually, because apparently I watched an interview with Gabe Newell, and he said him and some of his friends who went to New Zealand, they had a choice, and they actually had time to go back to America for the lockdown.
Okay.
And he chose to stay in New Zealand, and what a good choice that was.
Changes the picture, though. I mean,
he thought, well, I'm working from home anyway, stayed at New Zealand, and it turned out that New Zealand was one of the best countries in the entire world at dealing with the lockdown. So I think he made a good choice, but I'm sure he is itching to get back to America at some point.
I mean, like, we're working on the opposite time zone. If anyone that's ever watched Formula 1 will tell you that the second we go to that Australia continent, like, you're waking up at 5 a.m. just to catch something that's normal for them. It's not a very nice time differential. The Australians have their own idea of hospitality when it comes to the times.
Yeah, and I can imagine if you own an American company, it's on the West Coast, if I think I'm correct in saying that, before I make a big blunder.
Valve are on the West Coast. Valve very far west.
So I was right. And then you've got New Zealand, which is pretty far away still. So I don't know how many hours difference there is between those two, but it's quite a lot.
It's closer, but
closer than us. I think we're literally the furthest. Well, that's England, I'm saying. We're the furthest away from New Zealand possible. It is literally, if you pin through England, you'd end up the other side would be New Zealand.
I'm looking this up.
Okay.
GMT 12 in New Zealand, and it hasn't told me. Okay, that's great. Okay, it's 7:49 a.m. in New Zealand, and it's 12:04 midday in Pacific time, which is not actually the worst.
That's not that bad.
Completely undoable.
What, just 5 hours?
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually not too bad. That's definitely doable. You overlap at least some of the day, for sure.
We've been promised a very lopsided game, but I don't like to get people down that easily, quite frankly.
That's true. That's the lobby chat.
The small boys love to punch above their weight. We can never just go, oh, we're going to lose, even though I was on the team that lost every single game in student esports. We still showed up every week because we had fun.
Yeah, participation award.
And it's the Discord team that is playing themselves down right now. This is important for the lobby dynamics here. They're saying, oh, we're bad. Oh, we can't play this. So.
And then they have a 12-minute godlike Ember with rapier and just going around cleaning house. It's going to be like that, right? They're just trying to. It's all mental mind games. You tell the other team, oh yeah, we're not very good. We're going to lose, and then out comes your massive plays.
We do have a 2011 player. We do have a 2011 player, a 2012 player. That said, I'm a 2013 player. That doesn't mean that I'm good. It doesn't mean I can play. I got a very, very late beta invite, and I stuck in since. Although I actually was a league player, and I kind of got the early invite, and only came back around the early Dietide Greveling because my PC was finally capable of playing.
Yeah, I also played League of Legends before Dota, and it definitely helps to have a bit of MOBA experience. But I played a lot of Heroes of New Earth, So I could almost take my skills 1-to-1 into Dota
This
2.
is an old boy over here playing
Oh,
Hon.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Hon was great. I loved Hon. It was because there was no Dota 2 at that point. So
Yeah.
Hon was the only sort of Dota 1 equivalent, really.
Yeah, it was intended. I heard Ice Frog at a very, very, very early time in Hon because he kind of
He
wanted
did.
that to be Dota 2. And
He did work. He did work for. They were called S2 Games at the time. I think they're now called Frostburn Studios or maybe something else. But definitely, Icefrog was working for Heroes of New Earth for some time.
And then, I mean, that's why all their heroes early on were exactly the same as Dota heroes. Although now the games have
100%.
diverged. So now we kind of have, well, Hon's dead now, but
well, you can still play.
I mean, it might still be down. It might be down. I don't mean to disparagingly call it dead. I thought they closed it down. No, they didn't.
No, I've played it recently.
Okay.
It's yeah. The interesting thing is a lot of the heroes were taken from Dota heroes when Hon was first created. And some heroes have not changed at all in Heroes of New Earth since they were created from Dota. And then you compare it to the Dota 2 hero today, and you can see how much the game has changed since then.
Yeah.
So
we have crazy rework still to this day.
Oh, yeah. Like a good example for me is Lone Druid, right? He was quite simple. Summon a bear, to toggle his ultimate to get more HP. Now his ultimate's a cooldown, and his bear heals him, and the bear has the TP mechanic has worked differently. He's got an Aghanim's effect. Like, so even in a simple hero, so much has actually changed. So it's
meanwhile, you still have Juggernaut, who's just Juggernaut. Although I love him.
Yeah, I like Juggernaut.
I like simplicity. I like simplicity as well as complexity. You can't have every hero have 20 abilities. You've got to have a couple Juggernauts.
Oh, you know about the old Invoker who had 30 abilities, I think?
And half of them were terrible.
They were pretty much all terrible, yeah. But the idea is that even the order which you invoke the orbs makes a different spell. So I'm glad they got rid of that idea. He would have been, I'm sure he would have been popular because that kind of sounds pretty cool, but that's complexity for complexity's sake at that point.
So Discord have been more prompt than the Capital One team so far, who are looking for their one. Maybe they're actually doing a company-wide Slack message right now. Get in here, guys. Can anyone download Dota in time? Let's get in it. They'll make it. They're saying they have a tough time, but I have my faith in them personally. I always have my faith. I can never let someone down like that.
No, I'm sure they've got 4 players who are, ready to go. So I'm confident they'll find someone. The teams, they have subs as well on these teams.
I think it's going to depend on their circumstances, really.
Stand-ins, etc.
I think it's just going to depend on how big, sort of, how many people you can really get. There's a lot of games running today, in fact, as you saw in the opening video. We have CSGO, Dota 2. We usually have Hearthstone, but I've heard that's not been subscribed to enough this year. League of Legends, Overwatch, Rocket League, StarCraft 2, and new for this year, Valorant. Did you pick up Valorant at all? Because I tried for a while, and I like a lot of what it does, but the shooting wasn't for me.
I like the look of Valorant, but the core part of the game is like CS:GO, and that's not really the type of that's not really the type of game for me. So I'm a much more of I like shooting games, but I like TF2, Overwatch, I like Quake Champions. I like games where you're almost non-stop playing the game. Now, obviously, Valorant and CS:GO are very tactical, and that appeals to many people. CS:GO is even more popular than Dota at the moment in terms of player count. But yeah, not for me. I prefer to be in the action sort of non-stop rather than sort of waiting between rounds and just that sort of gameplay.
Consider this possibility. Maybe you can play more CS if you just don't die.
Yes,
and you're always playing.
That requires me to get good at the game, and
we're gonna go for the
I don't have the time for that.
I've been getting to Rocket League a bit more recently. There's something just so angelic about it all. It's just so tight, and it hasn't changed a bit, but that's perfect. Like, they didn't need to change a thing about Rocket League. It's great on day one.
Yeah. Rocket League is a really cool game. My favorite part about Rocket League is that the games are so short. So if you only have half an hour to kill, you can probably easily fit in maybe 3 games of Rocket League, whereas Dota is a little bit more of a commitment. You probably need to allocate, an hour of time at least for Dota.
But I see people who go, Dota lasts an hour, I can't play that. And I'm like, that's the point. when you drag yourself emotionally through the mud of an hour-long hold or an hour-long push. I've had a 2-hour game. You drag yourself through the mud. The feeling of finishing it is tantamount to anything. You can't beat it. It's impossible to defeat.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's why we like Dota. We like those longer games where it's like a whole story within the game. You know, you have the early game, then you have team fights, you have comebacks, you have the late game, where it all sort of culminates into one like decisive fight. And you don't really get that in a lot of other games where it's so round based and really quick. Whereas Dota, it's that long, drawn out sort of grand finale, which is why I think it's such a good spectator sport.
So apparently Capital One's plan is to kind of have a bit of a roster that changes a bit every single week, which is part of their... So when I joked about them jumping on the Slack and asking to see if anyone was around, they're actually doing that.
Well, it's in the rules, so...
Actually, I know, but I thought, oh, yeah, it'll be a funny idea. But like, those are always the best. You get the fifth man, you have no idea what they're like, and they're gonna either carry for you or do nothing. There were times I've had to do it before. I had to pull in someone at the last minute. You hit the fill my party button on Battle Cup. Oh, what a nightmare.
Yeah, I think there's benefits and disadvantages to having a different sort of lineup each week. The major disadvantage for the team is that you don't get to learn each other's playstyles so much. But then there's sort of that hidden advantage because the other team sort of don't know what to expect. They saw your previous game. You had a player who was really good at a certain specific set of heroes. And now you've changed that player with another player. And you have no idea anything about that player, what they like to play, what the heroes they're good at, what role they play. So, yeah, it keeps the enemy team guessing, basically.
While we wait for those Capital One players, we're going to get to a short break, and hopefully when we're back, we're going to be ready to play our wonderful little game. See you in a minute.
I'm not the girl that I used to be. Sometimes I'm more than words. I'm beyond what I once was. I don't believe in love. Hey, if I want something, I got it. Hey, oh baby, I don't need love me. Hey, cause I love I cannot buy it. Wasn't real with you, boy. Real, wasn't real with you, boy. You won't give me too much chances. I don't care if I am fancy brighter. Yeah, oh boy, I'm telling you goodbye, yeah, oh boy, I'm telling you goodbye. I'm not the girl that I used to be. Sometimes I'm more than words. I'm beyond what I once was. I don't believe in love. Hey, if I want something, I got it. Hey, oh baby, I don't need love me. Hey, cause I love I cannot buy it. Wasn't real with you, boy. Real, wasn't real with you, boy. You won't give me too much chances. I don't care if I am fancy brighter. Yeah, oh boy, I'm telling you goodbye, yeah, oh boy, I'm telling you goodbye. I don't wanna see you while you fall apart. Even though you told me to get back your heart, I still spin inside your should probably start to walk away. I'm hoping that you stop and make me have to stay. Cause I'm floating in your orbit. Yeah, I'm stuck in your space. Just my luck. Put me away, you understand. There's nothing left to say. Pull me back, take my hand. Come on, name, you understand. I wanna stay. Cause I don't wanna walk away. Cause I don't wanna walk away. Cause I don't wanna walk away. Yeah, I'm stuck in your space. Just my luck. Put me away, you understand. There's nothing left to say. Pull me back, take my hand. Come on, please, you understand. I wanna stay. Cause I don't wanna walk away. I wanna see you while you fall apart. Even though you told me to get back your heart, still spinning inside your orbit. I should probably start to walk away. I'm hoping that you stop and make me have to stay. Cause I'm floating in your orbit.
Welcome back to Whose Company Is It Anyway, where everything's made up and the points don't matter. And we say that, which I stole from the in-game lobby chat, because Discord have lent a player to Capital One for this preseason game. Absolutely gracious of them, although it could also be a mole operation, you know? It's a 2 for 1. You could have to weigh it up.
Oh yeah, I mean, they'll be taking notes the whole way through, working out all of their strats and listening into their voice chat, which they are. They're in voice for this game, so yeah, they're going to be subjected to all of those little hidden tactics.
I mean, the time to crash another team's victory and buy a rapier and run into Fountain is during the preseason, you know?
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's going to happen, but in a way, it's also kind of funny because you can get revenge on your own team.
Think about the charities.
Yeah,
A charity would want to see this.
Well,
Would we do
game, so it's just a bit of fun anyway. So we're just here to, get things set up, show you a game. Yeah, that's true, of course. But this is really an opportunity for us to just get everything sorted out. And you get to watch some hopefully enjoyable Dota.
So we are looking. We are so unbearably close to getting the coin toss ready in the lobby, which we'll be able to check out who's on the first pick and who's on the second pick, or more importantly, who takes the dirty dyer. It's always someone. Okay.
I need to think which patches in this patch, which side is favoured generally? Is it still Radiant or is it Dire?
It's universally favoured. Like it's just a
I used
fact
to
of
think
life.
that.
It's not as bad as it used to be, which is what's important deep on down.
It's true.
You guys actually came up with a Bath Video Game Society guild. That's nice.
A lot of the universities have their own guilds, at least here in the UK.
Just on the Dota 2 guilds. Wow. You filled up with 50.
Yeah, not all 50 are from the University of Bath. So I'm a graduate. I graduated about 4 years ago, but they still let us in there. So
I'm an integral part of your stream.
Yeah. I've had top 5 in the guild points, so I'm doing my part.
I keep forgetting to pick quests. Every game I forget to pick a quest.
You got to do your part for your guild. What guild are you in?
The levelers. I just picked it on day 1 and they've kept me ever since. Leveling up or leveling them down.
Is it just a random guild? Or
yeah.
Okay.
I picked out one for the list that didn't have a really cringe name. I'm going to say it on stream, people. Cringe. Got that word out of my system. Because there are some that are like explicit picture on the front and
there
terrible
are loads
puns.
Of those.
I wanted.
They haven't been banned, honestly.
I wanted a tribute to one of the worst Dota items.
It's a good item.
Personally.
I like the leveler.
Do you ever want a leveler drop?
If you're a hero who's really desperate for attack speed, maybe Outworld Devourer, who's not really put any attack speed into his build and suddenly needs to get some for the late game, it's okay. Yeah, I'm going to call it a fine item, maybe not my favorite. It's tier 4, I believe.
Fine. Tell me you wouldn't want a horn every time. It's all about getting a horn.
In the tier 4, it's got to be Whitler Shaco as my favorite. by far, not even
I
close.
play
love
heroes
to
like
get a Shaco.
Storm. Like Storm could never pick a Shaco. I always play heroes like that who could just never.
Storm is
never take
perfect.
it.
Storm is perfect for Shaco, actually.
Minus 400 mana. You can't do that to me.
Storm Spirit's ultimate is a percentage mana cost. So lowering your mana pool doesn't really matter, but 1,200 HP, that's like a Heart of Tarask amount of health in a neutral item. You
Also,
put it on Necrophos, etc.
I've played Strength Heroes with like 500 mana, and it's like, we're going to go to minus 400 now.
Yeah. That's not for you then, in which case, yeah, you're after the Minotaur Horn, aren't you? Something like that. I think my other favourite would be Spell Prism.
You just don't want to get Cape. Every time you get Cape, you think, oh, our carry is a Sven. We can't use Cape.
But when you're like a Terrorblade and you get the Cape, 10% on every illusion and another illusion, it's just unfair.
You're thinking I remember to hit that button? I know that you're good at this game, but not all of us can do that.
Yeah, that's what happens when you hit Immortal. You unlock the neutral active, but before that, you don't have it.
Now, I know how to use Essence Ring. I know a lot about how to use Essence Ring. Essence Ring is maybe my best.
That is a strong tier 2 item for
sure. I'm already getting called out in chat, and I just have to point out that he's the good player, and he will give you like the real opinions that matter about items, and I'm the one who is talking in pub scrub land. So whenever it comes to opinions, you just need to understand that I'm going to get corrected very, very quickly.
Well, opinions are opinions, so there's no real truth of it. I'm only, I'd say I'm about 5,500 MMR, so that's still another 5,000 from me and the pro players. So, just take everything I say still with a pinch of salt.
I mean, you're the only sort of, always these high-ranked players who are like, hey, I'm like 6k MMR, but I'm not really that good at Dota. And it's like, yeah, sure, you're not a professional. You're not going to be playing on a tier 1 team. But if you look at that bell curve, I think you'll find that you are, it's okay. Discord's mole has been struck out. Capital One have found their 5th player in the time we were waiting to do the coin toss.
Oh, fantastic.
Enemy Dies Alone tried their hardest, but they did not get that slot, that chance for sabotage.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to get a proper 5 versus 5 here.
I mean, Discord are the team that promised they would perform. So we're ready. The lobby is ready. We're going to hit the play button, hopefully. I don't have one. That's on other people. Let's go. The whole lobby chat's going go.
Yeah,
we're so excited. We're so excited. We're so excited.
Come on, hit that play button.
Oh, they're playing with us. They're not hitting play, so they can play with us.
I mean, maybe the players are already strategizing their draft. We can only hope.
If you don't wing it, what's the point?
I mean, there's nothing worse than having like 3 or 4 seconds of reserve time left and you still don't know what you're picking and you just throw in a random hero. Go, Sven. Oh, wait, we already have a pause one.
There it is! There it is! We're on our way into the lobby now. Players will take some lovely time to load, but let's see. I want to see that overlay for the draft. You've already got a simp, apparently. That's what chat says.
Yeah, I know this person. I brought my fans with me.
I've brought a few fans as well. They're going to fight it out in the parking lot outside.
Nice.
While we get the draft overlay to pop on, we can call out a couple early things we've seen. The first bands come out for Tiny.
Oh, here we go. There's a transition.
Yeah, I mean, we're delayed. So, like, really, when I say things like this, I look silly because I'm looking at the stream and, like, I'm actually delayed by, like, 10, 15 seconds. I'm the real clown here.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be saying this sort of thing.
So, as you said, Tiny is the first ban. He's a very popular roaming POS4 hero at the moment, but Topson's also had success playing him in the mid lane, so I think that's a pretty strong hero to ban out in the first phase.
I remember old school mid-tiny, like old school mid-tiny, you know, because you're playing against bad players where you could just run up to them and have a toss them and you get away with it. Buy the Aghanims and just hit them.
The permanent tree from Ags was great. Looks like we've also banned, Fail of Discord have banned Jakiro, so a standard support ban. They've also banned Ancient Apparition. And then What's in Your Warlock have responded with Venomancer ban. Which is, these are all fairly standard bans. You're likely to ban out supports in phase 1 anyway. So I'm interested to see which hero these teams value as their first picks. Is it going to be a generic sort of support hero, Witch Doctor, Lion, etc.? Or are they going to maybe surprise us, pick something a little bit unusual?
I'd get rid of Venom on principle. Poison? None of it. None of it. Now that is what we call a power play. They've taken the Warlock away. I think that is literally... I mean, how popular is Warlock? Because I have a theory here, okay?
You think they've picked it purely to deny the team with Watson your Warlock from picking Warlock?
Possible. Also, I've just noticed what's going on in that icon. That is that flag.
Yeah, it's a nice flag.
Warlock photoshopped right on top of someone that might be an employee. We'll never get to know. We'll never see the face.
Yeah, Warlock first pick is interesting because obviously he doesn't really bring any crowd control apart from his ultimate, and if he's going to channel upheaval. So yeah, I mean, I don't think his golem can hit the egg, the Phoenix egg. It has to be Heroes itself. So you know, they're not revealing much at the moment.
Watson your Warlock also picked the Phoenix first, and in comes Underlord, Undyman. Yes, our friend-shaped abominable. What is it? I was going to think of like an abominable snowman joke, but he's definitely not a snowman. Abominable blade man. He's got a big blade.
Abominable blade
10
man.
seconds
Yes,
remaining.
we'll go with that. Underlord is a very popular hero in the pub scene
5
especially, and
seconds
even in
remaining.
the pro scene. So, you know, he lanes really
Dire
well.
team back.
He's good in team fights. He's just an all-round solid hero. Sand King, again, they responded by picking their own Pos 3 hero. Sand King brings that stun. He's a pretty good laner. He's good at farming. He's very similar to Underlord, but with the edge when it comes to engaging the team fights. And already Sand King Warlock is looking for, you know, they're
10
shaping up a
seconds
pretty
remaining.
team fight-based team.
We love Burrow Strike.
5 seconds
That's what it's
remaining.
all about. It's the
It
only
is
thing you really
a great
pick it
spell.
for.
Well, the rest of this
Underlord-
kit's pretty good.
Underlord's that hero you pick when you kind of like, you're in a pub and you're like, hey, I've been assigned off lane and I don't want to put too much effort in. You know, there's no, like, I love the man, but it's not like there's like high intensity combos. Like Sand King, there's quite a few things that you really have to get right to like work with him in like a team fight or something. Underlord, I can just sit back and firestorm you. I can just sit back and firestorm you. I can just, I can hit the tower now for 300 damage. It's a great feeling. Same thing, Phoenix. Phoenix, quite an intensive hero. All things considered, quite a few things to manage. Underlord, just put down on firestorm. That's great.
Well, if you're proficient enough with a hero, then even some
10
of the
seconds
more complicated
remaining.
intricacies come easy to you. But I've always had this theory that
5
unless you're at the
seconds
highest
remaining.
level of Dota, the team with the easier draft will win the game. And by easier, I don't mean the individual heroes, but the easier to pull off. If your draft is relying on you getting everything right, like we're going to root him with that spell, and then we're going to hit him with this single target spell, then we're going to hit him with Mirana Arrow, etc. If you've got all that complicated stuff going on, way more room for error. The team who just turn up to the team fight, all 5 heroes press their
Dire team
ultimate, and then
back.
you win, they're going to win. Obviously not
Or
always
they
true.
just press firestorm.
That wins the lane.
Firestorm again. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm helping.
Firestorm does literally everything. It wins your lane, it lets you farm the jungle, it does damage in team fights, and later in the game, it can even be used to damage towers if you take the talent.
10
So it's a pretty
seconds
much
remaining.
do everything spell.
Radiant team back.
And looking, we have the bounty ban. How is bounty played nowadays? Catch me up with this, because I remember when I first started playing this game, people built battle theories because they were clowns. Then he became this ultimate pause 4 that would like only buy like 2 items and greaves. And then when he got his rework and he stole money, I never actually realised how he
10
fits in a team
seconds
anymore.
remaining.
Be my educator while you're here. I'm gonna leech off your knowledge for some of myself.
5
Well,
seconds
Bounty Hunter
remaining.
is a very interesting
Dire
hero
team
at the
back.
moment because he is quite strong in lane. He can run, even in mid lane, you can run Bounty Hunter now. He can be Pos 3, he can be Pos 4, he can be Pos 5. He can be anything except really a hard carry. But he's also not super popular, and it's interesting that they banned it so early. They Phase 2 ban, as soon as the Phase 2 bans came out, they
10
instantly
seconds
got rid of
remaining.
the bounty. And that I find quite unusual, unless they have some inside knowledge and
5
they know that
seconds
Watson
remaining.
your Warlock are likely to pick him. Or they just
Radiant
really,
team
really
back.
hate dealing with the bounty hunter.
For the charity, we will look at their team picks.
Yeah, well, play to win, you know.
That's
Usually in the Phase 2 bans, you're going to see some cores that are banned. So we have banned Zeus, we've banned Drow Ranger, they've banned a few more supports.
10
From
seconds
Watson your
remaining.
Warlock, they've banned Undying and Bane. Bane is a very strong
5
support at the
seconds
moment.
remaining.
Still very hard to lane against, so is Undying. So what those bans tell me, all right, we want to win our lane, so we're going to ban those sort of lane-winning supports. And Drow, very hard to lane against if you're playing Underlord, because she's just so far away from you, you can never really hit her with anything. So they've definitely thought about these bans.
Turns out Firestorm doesn't work all the time. I'm writing that one down.
Yeah,
Storm,
Drow
not always best spell. There we go.
against any melee hero, it's very strong. Against Drow, she's way too far away. The cast range of Firestorm starts, I believe, at 600 cast range, and Drow is over 600 attack range, maybe 630, 640. So you can't really get close to her. So
On paper, we're meant to do this for the audience, but really I'm here so I could get a Divine player to sit in the lobby with me and just spoon feed me little bits of information. Underlord, not always only pick. Got that one down. Sand King has stun. Boom. Didn't know that one before today.
you were the one who was talking about Burrow Strike and how much you love it. So, I mean, I was an Immortal player, but I have. Double down is not what you should do every single game, regardless of your
Double
team.
down, you should just never do it. You could be on a good roll, you hit double down, and everything conspires against you in one go.
Oh yeah. Faceless Void, that's also a very common
10
ban these
seconds
days. He's an
remaining.
exceptionally strong hero in team fights, so not surprising.
5
I'm interested to
seconds
see
remaining.
what they're going to pick now. Both teams need another support, and of course they need the rest of their cores.
Now we get the exciting picks. We've kind of gotten the Warlock and Sand King and Underlord and Phoenix out of the way. We're into the second phase. We're going to start seeing some hot and spicy core action that really determines how these teams are actually going to play the game and actually going to push forward. And we're going to kick off with, first of all, Bardic Ogre Magi. Love that funky little man. And he's got that beefiness. He's just generally reliable, and he makes a lot of money, I've heard.
He makes money if you build Midas, but if you're playing a
10
support Ogre
seconds
Magi,
remaining.
it's unlikely you're going to afford this nearly 2,000 gold item.
You can get away with it on a
5
4
seconds
sometimes, you know?
So, yeah.
And
you-
with the Warlock,
If you have a good early game, you can get away with a Midas. Ogre Magi, you said he's very reliable because all of his spells are point and click stun, point and click slow, and buff your team. There's very little that can go wrong on that hero. He is very tanky. He has the highest strength
Radiant
gain out of
team
non-strength heroes.
Wind Ranger at
And
your service.
they've answered with Wind Ranger. Now, it's hard to tell at this point which lane Wind Ranger is going to go in. It could be a support Wind Ranger, or it could easily be a mid Wind Ranger.
so we all know about how our man Saraxon Flax
10
hates Wind
seconds
Ranger because he
remaining.
thinks she's just completely useless at everything. Yeah. I also despise
5
Wind
seconds
Ranger, but for the
remaining.
opposite reason. Yeah. That little girl wanders into my game, gets an MKB in 12 minutes, and then can just hit you while running around, while evading, and you just can't. You're just like, okay, you've ulted me. Great. Well, I can just walk away from you now and still die? I mean, like, you can just hit me while running. Great idea, people.
Dire
Wow.
team
I mean,
pick.
if
Suck 'em up the money.
if Wind Ranger is getting a Monkey King bar 12 minutes into the game, something has gone horribly wrong.
What do you think happens in my games? Things go horribly wrong.
Well, maybe they do. I mean, Wind Ranger still has plenty of counters. You can get Yules, you can get Ghost Scepter, you can get Blade Mail, you can get Heaven's Halberd.
10
So it's not like
seconds
she's
remaining.
uncounterable. Yes, in the early game, if she's ahead, that is her time to
5
go around killing
seconds
whoever she
remaining.
wants. Lifesteal is an interesting pick. I think it maybe is picked because it's pretty good against Phoenix and Underlord. You can rage off the Fire Spirits and hit the egg. Lifesteal has a lot of base attack speed now, 60 extra from the
Dire
passive
team
ability
back.
Feast, and also just pretty good against Underlord in lane. So I can see the Lifestealer pick. I can see the logic behind that.
Yeah, you can really just shrug off a lot of
Radiant
those.
team back.
I'm going to say it again: firestorms. That's a common
yeah.
theme today with the raid. We have the Witch Doctor in town as well, against quite a few tanky heroes. The ult does hit is a physical damage spell, and also Maledict does go through BKB nowadays completely.
10 seconds
But
remaining.
there's a lot of disables already as the Sand King could jump him,
5
and I'm just
seconds
worried that he
remaining.
might not do just enough damage with that board.
It's going to be hard for him to set it up sometimes because, as you said, Sand King, Ogre Magi, then you've got the enormous stun radius of Warlock and range. So he may struggle to get his ult off, but if he can, like you said, because Maledict, once applied, cannot be removed. If they're already in Magic Community, it doesn't apply to them. But if you can get it before
Dire
Lifestealer
team
rages,
back.
and you can do enough damage with your ultimate, yeah, you can definitely bring him down. Which means Wind Ranger is probably, I'd say most likely, going to be played in the core role in the mid lane. So they're still looking for their POS 1 just to round off their draft.
Who would you pick as the last pick in both of these situations? I'm going to bring your mind a little bit here. Like,
10
what
seconds
strikes you
remaining.
as this is a good pick for these teams?
So
5
Radiant are
seconds
still looking
remaining.
for a mid laner. Now, I guess really any mid laner can work. I'm a fan of Void Spirit. I think he can do really well.
Void's gone, unfortunately, so we're going to need to think of another one.
Oh, they banned both the Void, so they've banned it, so they didn't want to pick it themselves. Maybe, I don't know why they banned Void Spirit Fail of Discord, because I feel like it's very likely Watson and your Warlock are going to pick a POS 1 hero. So they may be looking for a Juggernaut, which I think will do quite well against Lifestealer. Yeah, Sven, he's very popular. I think he'll do okay against Lifestealer. What else is a really popular here at the moment? I guess you don't want to be running an illusion here against Sand King and Warlock, because your illusions are going to get killed very easily. So those beefy, strong heroes like the Sven and the Juggernaut, who can just Omni slash the Lifestealer and very easily kill him. Whereas the Radiant, they need a mid hero. They can't go for Void Spirit. I think you might be able to get away with Storm Spirit. Ember Spirit's been banned. They've just banned Templar. Assassin.
If I was, like, one of the few things I do in life is spam Storm Spirit. And I lose a lot, but I know, and yeah, this is the sort of team I wouldn't hate to pick Storm against, as long as I can deal with Wind Ranger probably getting an early Orchid. That's about the only thing that can really put you down there. It is not a bad team to pick him into at all.
Yeah, the thing about getting an early Orchid is that if you can see your opponent's going for an early Orchid, you can go for an early Euls, and Euls is cheaper than Orchid. So as long as you're not getting absolutely obliterated in your lane, you'll always get the Orchid up, the Euls before the Orchid. So that's why I'm not a massive fan of getting Orchid on a hero like Wind Ranger.
It's not a bad team to pick Storm into. It's really what we were going for there.
Yeah,
the Templar's
exactly.
gone, and the PL is gone for the Dire team.
They've only got 20 seconds of reserve time left, so they're going to have to think of something pretty quickly.
On my last competitive game I played with my 5-stack, we ran out of time because we were arguing about our mid-hero and we randomed Oracle.
Okay, they've chosen Spectre. I could definitely see Spectre working. You've got the Phoenix ult, and then the Spectre ults in as well. There's so much confusion. You're trying to hit the egg, but you've got this Spectre illusion hitting you. Spectre can easily man up to Lifestealer. Spectre will go Manta. Spectre has that built-in damage reduction and damage reflection. So I think it's a good pick. If they can get away with it, it'll be good.
I really like how the Spectre fits in here because it's a hero that really needs to buy time till late game, but they've got a team full of heroes under Wind Ranger of Rich Doctor who can make tempo in the mid game. You have Wind Ranger as a core you can kind of rely on, back up on in the mid game. I really, really like the Spectre picks. It gives them that late game insurance while they still have a lot of tempo in their remaining heroes. Death Prophet on the other team, going to give that nice pushing advantage, something they did kind of lack in their team comp so far, if you look at them across. Hopefully looking to dominate the mid against the Wind Ranger, which was a card which is quite early to reveal the card for your mid lane. Hopefully Death Prophet's just going to hope to get that tower now while Wind Ranger's gone.
Yeah, I think it'd be an interesting mid lane. Death Prophet and Wind Ranger are fairly evenly matched. Death Prophet's advantage is that Death Prophet has a much higher base damage, so that helps with last hitting and denying. But of course, Wind Ranger can use Power Shot to get the range creep. So I think that lane could go either way, depending on what happens in the game, whether any heroes come to gank. You know, if you've got a hero like Ogre Magi, you could definitely have him rotate in and try and look for a gank to kill the Wind Ranger. So we'll see.
Oh, I just noticed one of these player names, 1 million segfaults. Are you two, someone who does computer science too, are you two familiar with the segmentation fault? I'm not, because I never did C in my life, and I will never do C in my life, but...
Oh, C was definitely part of something we did at university.
I'm a Java stan. I don't hate it, actually, I quite like it, but at the same time, you know, it gets a bad rep, unfairly.
It does.
We're gonna have this slap fight. Well, we weren't gonna have a slap fight, but it's fine. So here we are in the match, our pre-season show match to begin the CEA 2020 full season. As we begin with Fail of Discord, run Discord's team, and What's in Your Warlock for Capital One. So take a look at these lanes, see if there's anything unexpected. We do have the 5 Warlock with the 1 Lifestealer, it looks like, with the Ogre taking up the 4.
I'm just having a look at the items to see if there's anything that is unusual, but it looks fairly standard. Death Prophet versus Wind Ranger mid is confirmed. They've got the shared tangos. Phoenix going into his lane with 2 Fairy Fires and a Ring of Regen. So some pretty strong laning items there.
I'm liking the Orb of Venom, on the Ogre Magi, but what sort of heroes is he up against? He's against a Witch Doctor and a Spectre. 2 heroes he can kind of slap with the Orphan. You have to watch out for a bit of Maledict, but even then they don't have much follow-up damage with the Maledict because they're playing the Spectre. So it's sort of like, yeah, he's gone up against a matchup he can hit quite nicely. Death Prophet is quite heavily on the top. I think they really want to play for this bounty rune.
Yeah, both teams have got their mid ready for the rune. So there's 3 Radiant Heroes top, 3 Dire Heroes bottom. The Radiant Heroes are making a move already, but I think the Dire, they're just going to run back. And the same's happening.
Just high five, though! They did get the high five up in the middle. On the bottom, they are going to try fighting for the right click back for this rune, but they've conceded it up to the Underlord. It is going to go 2-2, despite all of that fighting. It ends up going 2-2.
Yes, I would love to have seen a sort of rotation from another hero in one of the teams to make it a 4 versus 1. You know, sack one of the bounty runes completely, one of the sets of runes, but then maybe look for a first blood. You've got a lot of heroes with stuns. You've got Ogre, you had Sand King with stun. Maybe bring the Warlock up as well, just for a bit of extra damage. But we're going to start the laning stage nice and civil.
It's really a game of how long it ends up civil. On these lanes, I mean, they're going to want to cause some harassment up on top. Down on bottom, they do have the lifesteal who we have to shrug off a lot, and they don't have too many disables. So this actually might just be a fairly passive bot lane until we see a rotation, to be honest. Because what's lifesteal going to do? Shrug off the Pit of Malice? I mean, they don't have disables either. They have a Warlock who just is usually in lane, quite a passive hero who just kind of wants a heal. I mean, they are having a bit of a slap fight in the woods, but the Fire Spirits are going to ward a bit.
Yes, I mean, I agree with what you said there. Bot lane does look very passive, and I don't suspect there'll be much happening mid either, but you know, that could change. I think top lane is where they're most likely to find a kill. We've got the double stun, Ogre and Sand King, and if Witch Doctor steps out even for a second, go down.
I mean, at the level 1 Caustic Finale, it's already done a lot of damage to the Witch Doctor. He's actually beaten him down quite a few times, gotten him fairly low. And of course, this is a lane you want to put pressure on. You want to put pressure on that Spectre and build up space for your Lifestealer, who is kind of like, you know, you come up to power in the sort of mid-game, and then hopefully, according to them, just run over buildings. If you look at the Death Prophet as well, it suggests they kind of want to just play a bit of tempo into the Spectre, just get the game over before Spectre's a problem. Although Lifestealer isn't an awful matchup for a super tanky hero like Spectre, you still don't want to take that risk.
Yeah, Spectre is not a typical super tanky hero that Lifestealer wants to play into, because Spectre's tankiness doesn't come from massive HP pools like a strength hero. It comes from dispersion, armor, etc. Looks like there is a fight in the top lane, maybe first blood?
Down on the middle lane also, they got very low. Just trading
Sand
up
King's going to
health.
go down. That's going to be the first blood. Maledict takes it in the top lane. But Push, he maybe go down as well. Rob Slark, he's chasing him. But he just gets out of range for Orb of Venom. And
He's going to get the clarity on. If he can just get vision, he'll be able to hit the stun. Oh, he cancelled it at the same time on the middle lane. There are 2 fights going on at once here. Same time on the middle lane. Wind Ranger tries to make a move down there on the Death Prophet, but she retaliates with some good life drains and is now back on full health, having just killed the Wind Ranger.
Yeah, it's nice to get that advantage early on. And now Death Prophet's going to have a big advantage in this mid lane.
And they're really exploiting the fact here that Witch Doctor is being forced out of lane by that struggle, as they're able to just the Caustic Finale level 1 helps really bully that Spectre out of lane. She's got to be in melee range for all of her last hits. She has to go for a lot of denies in order to stop that Caustic Finale.
She does, but if you look at the last hits at the moment, we've got 15, 16 now to 7 denies, where Sand King only has 9 last hits, so Pyrochart's having no problems last hitting in this lane. Still got plenty of health as well, so I don't think Spectre is worried too much at this point.
Over up, we're going for the single pull from the Witch Doctor. Already going to get not Witch Doctor, the Warlock. Oh, I'm great at hero names. Going to get disrupted up in there. That's going to push the lane quite hard, this single pull, right into where Underlord really wants to be. Ogre Magi chasing the courier up on top, doesn't quite get it, as the courier unfortunately is faster today. A little Maledict comes out, but with no damage at the same time. We really are playing a little bit slow, a little bit peaceful, apart from those first few exchanges. As these 5 and this, I presume it's a 4 Phoenix, just keep meeting up, just keep slapping each other. He's given the Lifesteal a lot of space to just not be harassed. You don't want to have to burn rage against the spirits if you don't want to, so it sure does make that space anyway. Up on the top lane, the Maledict comes out onto the Ogre Magi, but they have been able to get down the Stanking as well.
This is fantastic for Dire. They're in a lane with Spectre. He's top of the CS by already, 8 CS over the mid lane even. And now he's been part of 2 kills and hasn't died. So this is everything a Spectre can dream about, really, having a good early start to the game.
Radiant's courier has been killed.
He's a courier. Sniped their Lifestealers. Phoenix just dived in. I mean, Phoenix is a great hero. You probably go for that because you have to dive, you have to jump in, and we have to escape. More importantly, although it hasn't needed to be used, it's going to slow down Lifestealer for a bit. However, he did get his items. So now up on the top lane, the Maledict down on the Ogre, but it isn't going to matter because the Ignite plus the Orb of Venom. Oh, right up next to a triple stacked camp.
Well, neutral creep denied, so not too bad.
Now Sankey's going to just push in on the Spectre as soon as that Witch Doctor leaves. At the same time on mid, we almost had a kill here from the Wind Ranger onto the Death Shot
connected. Well, the power shot connected and the Death Prophet was very low. He's not actually going to go back to base, just going to send in a salve. Does have a level advantage and has opted to max Spirit Siphon over Trip Swim. So suggests he wants to play a little bit aggressive. Bot lane looks like there's a bit of a fight here.
Chasing down the Underlord through the trees, who's made a great juke up and through. There are Fatal Bonds, but I don't think they'll do enough damage for now.
No, rank 1 Fatal Bonds is fairly low in terms of the damage that it provides.
Spectre is sustaining up here with the regen, with Witch Doctor already having a Furnace Shadows. Will help out. Out comes the Maledict once, but a retaliation for the Ogre who's going to land the stun, but Spectre's going to be the bodyguard. Sanking is now back and ready to go. He's not taking too much Maledict damage. He could do this with the Q. He's still being a little bit scared and careful. I think they might back this off because Spectre could just slow and chase it. The stun comes out, bounces back to the Sand King. He is stuck under the Sandstorm and the double stun with Burrow Strike into the Fire Blast. That is going to be a Witch Doctor lost. And that Maledict there isn't going to do much for the Sand King as they're not going to chase down the Spectre. They're trying to harass the Spectre out of lane, although it hasn't worked so far. Looking at the last hits, they're getting a lot of Witch Doctors. They're not. It's like Spectre just being elusive and being survivable. 2 early points of dispersion here, really helping build up some of that tankiness. It's not a huge damage lane, it's just a heavy disable lane. So before you can get the Witch Doctor, it's hard to get the Spectre.
It was very well played by the Radiant team. They were very patient. Spectre was chasing them down and they just waited for the right opportunity to turn and just throw both their stuns in and claim the Witch Doctor kill. But I think they're really going to struggle to kill the Spectre because, like you said, they're going to try. They've stunned him under the tower, but they have nowhere near enough damage. The Spectre is very tanky.
Spectre will just run away.
He will indeed. I mean, he's going for Midas first item, went for the double Wraith Band and is now picking up Midas. So he's got the full treads. Okay, so he's fairly tanky. He's doing well with the farm. And he's going to try and pick up the Midas to accelerate his XP and gold into the mid game.
The thing is, if you look at the last hit side by side, Spectre has 20 more last hits. So Spectre can quite frankly afford to go something super greedy like the Midas right now, because Spectre's miles ahead anyway. Despite saying it's rage quit and strong off the spell, they've still been doing some nice harassment of the Lifestealer. They've gotten some good Underlord right clicks, and they've been quite annoying with the Warlock, forcing him back a fair bit. He just hasn't been able to last hit creeps at all. He's far, far behind.
Yeah, it's not where you want to be. You don't expect to be top of the last hits at 8 minutes in. Already looking to build that Midas. So,
and top of the net worth as well. If you look at the net worth on these heroes, 3,000 for the Spectre, then 3,000 for the Wind Ranger, and then Lifestealer is 500 behind. He's behind the Underlord.
I think, like you talked about, the Radiant, they want to go for that tempo. They've got the Death Prophet ready to push towers. They've got a lot of stuns, good team, but they're going to struggle. It's not
Witch Doctor gets stunned, but the double stun bounces back and forth brilliantly. It's not going to matter because this Sandstorm's doing so much damage, and the Burrow Strike hits twice. Spectre thinks she can finish on the Sand King. It's not a good trade for Radiant, is it? He's just given a kill to Spectre for a Witch Doctor again. This Witch Doctor, quite frankly, doesn't care about the deaths at this point. He's doing this, he may be, 3 deaths, but he's done his job perfectly, making space for this Spectre who is farming away right now.
I mean, if your Spectre doesn't die in a fight, you're going to say it's worth. Especially if Spectre can get her overkill afterwards without even having to share the experience. It's even better. The Spectre is level 7.5, 3rd highest level in the game. Not even that far away from the mid heroes, so Pyro Trout, he's had a pretty good early game, but it doesn't mean that the game is over, because Spectre is still quite easy to take down in the early game before she picks up those big items. So hopefully they'll look to do a rotation top, bring her down.
Yeah, I have a feeling these 2 heroes alone are not going to cut it, and they're going to need to send in a rotation. But I mean, the Death Prophet does have the max HP draw, which hopefully could do some nice things to the Spectre. But it would require probably giving up your tower to a win range with Focus Fire. Like, you just lose it on that run.
I don't think rank 1 Focus Fire with just Phase Boots is really going to be too much of a threat. Just push out the lane using Death Prophet. Oh, it looks like they're going to try and dive
They
it.
go with it. We've got the evasion under the tower. Not doing too much damage against the Spirit Siphon, though.
Is under attack.
They're going to take it with the power shot. That probably just will be enough. It's barely enough damage to out-damage it. That took a bit longer than the Wind Ranger probably wanted it to, but a kill is a kill under a tower in the mid lane.
And he is going for Orchid, like you predicted, but I think Wind Ranger's damage with Focus Fire isn't that much in the early game, and I feel like Beacon Bokum maybe should have just kept running, so he thought, oh, maybe I'm actually strong enough, but not quite.
An even trade here, looking like on the bottom lane, as the Phoenix gets them. It's not an even trade, the Phoenix gets the Courier in retaliation, but the Maledict's going to hit both and the high HP damage, but I love that infest right inside the Warlock, saved his life at the last second. Not inside the Warlock, it's inside a creep, but it's good enough. Oh, that was
he was so close to dying, so really nice use of Infest. Heals him up as well. Dodges some of the Maledict damage. It's an excellent play by the Lifestealer.
I mean, it's like that he looked completely done there. The Witch Doctor has rotated away. He just believes Spectre is so good at farming out against this duo. And to be fair, the Spectre's not been killed so far. The also now has a Arcane Link, which will help him just farm somebody's creeps with the rotation bot. Was possible. They sent in the Phoenix. Is this actually a long-term lane swap?
Well, Phoenix is almost level 6, so it's going to be strong if they want to do a fight top. Actually, Spectre's decided, nah, I'm just going to jungle. It's not fast, but it's safe. So, I don't know what the Radiant are going to do. Are they going to look to find the Spectre and maybe hunt through the jungle? They've brought 3 heroes top now, so they've taken the Warlock here. Warlock does have his ult, so they've got 3 stuns, Ogre, Warlock, and Sand King. And they may look to kill this Phoenix. They're going to open the burst, right? Oh no, not yet.
Warlock's still lagging behind a little bit. He's not quite ready. You wouldn't want to burn this many stuns on a Phoenix, right? Because you just have the
a killer's a kill in the early game. If you can chain them perfectly and get the kill, I think you're happy. Ogre's now thinking, well, I need to find Pyro Trout. Where is he? Oh, there he is.
He is going to find the Spectre. All he just about has, but Spectre's fast in that trail and with the treads. It's not even worth chasing. That's over. He's left his bottom tower a little exposed. We have Underlord cutting the creeps here to make sure that they keep hammering the tower. Circle's drawn up on the top lane. I think they do want to make a move, but are they going to go for Phoenix? That ultimate is up. They don't have too much attack speed.
There's the stun.
Can still do it. 2 stuns. Is it going to be the ult? Not quite. And as I predicted, the Icarus dive just takes them out. They've dedicated 4 heroes up here. They have to want something major. Spectre's in town, spotted by the ward, but they're not committing. Oh, they are not committing to that Spectre.
Well, the Death Prophet's under the tower. I wonder if she's going to drop her ult.
Comes in as well, and the whole team's going to come in now. We're going to have a little bit of a skirmish up here.
Oh, it's going to kick off.
The Spectre sits back. I don't think they're going to commit. They're really scared now. They are really wasting their time a little bit on this Discord team. That's a lot of time burned and a lot of rotations forced, and all they've really done is scared themselves off.
Yeah, that's an interesting play from them because they rotated a lot of heroes top, but it didn't. Okay, apart from finding a courier, which is a nice little prize, it didn't look like they were that willing to commit to a fight. They were very quick to back off if they actually know we're just going to go take the mid tower instead. So they're still going to get something out of it.
The Death Prophet ultimate is here. They do have the Witch Doctor and the Wind Ranger, but it's probably not worth fighting under the Ghost for. That's a nice power shot. Does hit right in the kisser. There are actually 4 heroes right in range here. We have the Underlord and the Spectre with ult ready. The Spectre could easily jump in to quote-unquote secure a couple kills at the very end. Pick up some more of that beautiful net worth. As she has been surpassed by the Wind Ranger. Well, not quite. They're back. Still top of the game. To both the cores on that team.
To the Prophet. Look under the mid tower.
That is perfect. Looking nice burrow strike now, and the Wind Ranger slows her down. And the Fire Blast with the multicast. She's low and she's down. Overcommitted. under a tower. Discord team can send in their players if they need to. And now they're going to hunt down the Witch Doctor. His stun has been eaten up, but I don't think they have been saved in time. They just about do with the Ogre. Going to get down the Witch Doctor. Out comes the Spectre ultimate, but the Golem too. They're pushing forward with that Golem and the Epicenter. Not quite able to get the Spectre down still. He does escape. Still not many more kills trading either way, but you did get the Haunt out, and now you have a Golem on the mid lane. This could be a good trade for him. Lifesteal is going to dive under the tower and try and hit the Underlord. Can't do much about the raid as he hides inside a creep. Windranger TPing just finishes off the Death Prophet. Out comes the Rage Lifestealer again, but when Ranger's in town, she doesn't have ult, but she can just chase him down for a really nice power shot. That's going to be a nasty kill in retaliation. This has been such a great TP. Another power shot in 3 and her ult soon. But she might back off after that. That's good enough for them. They were able to take down the Windranger and the Witch Doctor early on in the fight, but they picked off the 2 cores in retaliation. That's really nasty.
Yeah, I'd say Dire were the winner of that fight overall because, again, they are not killing the Spectre, and they managed to get some of the cores. They killed Lifestealer and they killed Death Prophet. So any fight, in my opinion, where the Spectre doesn't die and you kill a core on the Radiant, you're winning that. And that's exactly what happens. You know, good play by Ezio.
So this Discord team, they need to start building some tempo soon. This is looking a little bit dangerous for them. Their Lifestealer is lagging behind now by almost 3k compared to the Spectre. This team wanted tempo. They have to make a good fight happen soon, or this might start getting out of control.
Well, if we look at the Lifestealer, or Muffins, as it's called, he is going first item Armlet. Now, Armlet is a very powerful early to mid game item, so it means he's committed to fighting early. Looks like it's an Underlord TP top.
On the top lane, Windranger uses the Shackle shot. Burrow strikes away, but with the Orchid, that's going to be a free kill. There aren't actually that many Yule Spires on this Radiant team, other than Death Prophet. So this Orchid might actually do some nice things, like prevent the Sand King from getting up the Sand King shenanigans, as Windranger now finds the free stack.
Yours is a fairly popular item on Sand King, to be honest, if you need it. So I think you should definitely consider picking it up.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Otherwise, he's going to be killed quite a few times by this Windranger.
Death Prophet kind of chasing down the Spectre. The Spectre knows when to leave. She came in to deny that tower, and she got it.
That's perfect.
The Spectre's doing a perfect amount of baiting. Enemies are constantly going on the Spectre, and Spectre is never going down as a result. It's just the perfect amount of bait, the perfect amount of I'm going to pull you in a little bit, only to let you down in the long run. And
so if I was the Radiant team now, and I'm thinking, right, we need to do some tempo, we need to group up, like they're doing now. They've got 4 heroes on the top.
Oh, nice Burrow. He does have his kind of insight already, but there's more damage than he can take on. At the same time, the Windranger is able to trade for the Lifestealer, who's just solo on top. With the Orchid, can't rage through it, can you? And the Javelin.
That's actually such a... I was thinking about Orchid, I was thinking, okay, Death Prophet's alright, Sand King. Only just occurred to me how good the item is against the Lifestealer. That's perfect. If you can't rage, he's dead.
Middle tower is
Another
under
Dire
attack.
tower looks like it's going down, but if that Spectre sneaks in behind their back to deny it one more time, it won't be a great look for them. The Manadin comes out onto the Death Prophet, and it seems like a good start for the Warlock ultimate retaliation. Easy trade 2 for 2, but 1 for 1 even, but the Death Prophet does have to go down in the middle. Now chasing down the Ogre Magi, scored a lovely soccer goal in the middle of it. Epicenter onto the Phoenix. That's a kill. They need to keep this momentum going up now. Lifestealer wants to chase down this Underlord, but he doesn't have open wounds for 20 seconds. Pipes out, might not do a huge amount, as he can still hit him and stun him. These are a few good kills for the team. Out comes the Burrow, that's another kill, and they will get the tower last hit for themselves.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
So, like, what this shows to me, right, is the Radiant, even though they're behind in net worth, they are still powerful at fighting. So they need to be grouping up, and they need to be looking for these full 5-man team fights. Because if they're split, you know, Spectre can find them with Haunt, Windranger can pick them off, but if they have a full team commitment, they can easily win the fight. So I'd like to see them grouping up and really going for the towers. They've already pinged the bottom tower, so you can see they've taken 2 tier 1s, they've pinged another tier 1. I think they should just start taking tier 2s as well. You know, they're strong when they're all 5 and they've got their ults, so that's definitely what they should be thinking to do.
It is a very nice itemization for the Underlord, though. It hasn't done a huge amount for him so far, but it is a magic-heavy team between the Ogre and the Sand King. You do have the physical DPL and the kind of mixed damage Q, am I right on the Fatal Bonds? It's the type of damage dealt. You can help me out here. I think it's the type of damage dealt. It doesn't have a damage type on the mouse over. So...
I'm just going to have a very quick check of the Fatal Bonds.
Yes, go. Glimmer Cape comes out on the Warlock to protect. That's a good way of protecting from the Wind Ranger, actually. Just put the Glimmer down on whoever's getting ulted on, and they might just be able to walk away with it until the detection starts coming out. Protection just for a Glimmer. I mean, you'll do it if you have to, but it doesn't feel great. Wind Ranger went for the Maelstrom. Wind Ranger went for the Maelstrom. Instead of the MKB, going straight for some earlier damage. We're going to go straight to a BKB now. BKBs will shut down some of these hard disables. Disable TP on the Sand King. They found an opportunity, and the Silence, and the Maledict, and the Death Ward. Easy kill. No chance out from that. Caught him out. It's too early. Now the double root. In comes the Phoenix. Doesn't commit. And the Meteor Hammer's going to be miles off. But this Wind Ranger is powerful. Does eat a stun. And, oh, a lovely power shot through the middle, hits down the Death Prophet, and the Lifestealer's going to try raging in the middle. He's taking the hits of 4. Orchid comes out now again onto the Ogre, and that's 3 kills. They weren't ready to fight. They were very much caught out with a high health Wind Ranger there. Oh,
Ezio, this is an interesting Wind Ranger build, not, like you said, not going for the MKB, but it's allowed her to be so potent in the early game. And if you just flick to the levels of the players, you can see that Wind Ranger is level 17, the next is 14, also on his team, and then 13 is the highest level on the Radiance. There is a big gap between Wind Ranger and everyone else. And yeah, Ezio's turning up to all the fights, getting those big kills. It's just fantastic Wind Ranger play this game.
So earlier, Meteor Hammer on Phoenix is going to try and counteract the damaging effect of the Radiance so far. That is a dead CEA. Very easy Orchid into ult, but now the Wind Ranger's kind of caught out, taking a lot of damage. Doesn't hit in time, and Witch Doctor might pay the price for it. One Crypt Swarm, down he goes. Meteor Hammer hits the tower. That tower is going down, so they're going to try fighting back with this one team. Now comes the Dark Rift. Oh, that down goes the Underlord straight away, but so much damage on the Death Prophet. Hawk's going to try and counteract some of his fights. It's gone to do so far, but Lifestealer really wants that Spectre. It's going into a 1-1 hit. Lifestealer will heal just enough damage, and Candy can't rage in time to dispel the Spider Spirit. They finally got the Spectre, but at what cost? They've actually lost 4 there.
Even though Spectre dies, and that's not ideal, that's definitely a worthwhile fight. The only thing I thought the Spectre should do in that fight was to maybe kite towards the Supernova Egg, because if that went off and stunned the Lifestealer, I think he might have lived. But nevertheless, holding his ground did allow Lifestealer to be picked off by the Phoenix eventually, and so it's another great trade for Dire. I think if Spectre's dying, but you get 3 or 4 heroes, yeah, it's worth it.
It's free real estate. I think that's Spectre's first death of the game, which 22 minutes into a game, if that's your first death, I think you're doing fine. Especially with a Midas by your side. Midas has been a very heavily nerfed item recently. We don't see it too often, but it is going to probably pay off this game. Spectre got on the space and recognised, I have all the space in the world. Let's just play for late game.
It's actually been buffed the last few patches. Maybe it wasn't at its original glory, but they took the experience up from 1.85 to 2.1, and then they reduced the cost again by 100. It's still a fairly expensive item. It doesn't work in every game, but basically Spectre's gotten away with it. It's greedy for Spectre, but it's paying off. So that's all that matters at this point.
Spectre's build direction looks like we're skipping the Radiant, probably because the Midas was the farming item. We're going to go into Manta-style Basher Abyssal. So Spectre just wants to fight and keep fighting. At this point, Dispersion is maxed. Ult is level 2.
Desolate the top jungle.
Yeah, up here we have a dying Underlord, but right next to a powerful Wind Ranger, and they were able to rotate into heroes to quickly finish that off with the perfect shackle into a Death Ward, kicking off another. Spectre now chasing down more. She has the Q in just a second, and with the Wind Ranger's help, the Ogre's going down somehow. Bye-bye. Caught out again!
I mean, this Wind Ranger this Wind Ranger's fantastic at picking off the Lifestealer. I mean, poor guy, I know he's got Rage, he's got Armlet, he's trying to get MKB, so maybe he can fight Ezio, but Ezio is all over the place. He finds the right kill, uses his ult, you're dead.
The Glimmer play did happen, but Wind Ranger's found him. Wind Ranger still found him.
Wow.
Like on the Wind Ranger. We're looking right now at 10 and 2.
10 and 2 and level 21. There is now a 7 level lead between Wind Ranger and the highest level, which is his opponent mid. Just incredible play. I don't know what they can do against Wind Ranger now, to be honest. It's going to be tough.
Underlord also wants the Crimson Guard and the Vlad's. The Vlad's going to get some heavy pushing in done, and the Crimson is going to be the kind of protect against everything here for the fight. In comes the Wind Ranger, dives the Lifestealer. Spectre's ready to finish off that DP as well. Everybody's going to have to run away. And Wind Ranger doesn't care. I have evasion under your tower. Arrow Strike missed as well. 17k net worth advantage. It's been relentless from the off. But the tower does get backdoors. So we're going to have to wait a little bit to push. But they're not going to, I don't think they need to run away from much. The golem's up, but that's not going to be a team wiper.
So if I was the Radiant team now, fail of Discord, I would be thinking, right, we need to 5-man smoke and we just need to go in as a big group. If we can get our Warlock ult off, we can get the epicenter, I can get the... and that's just another kill, another pick-off. So they need to try and avoid going in individually, stay in the base, 5-man smoke, pop every ult, and see if they can get a big target kill on either the Spectre or the Wind Ranger. Because at the moment, if they just have a sort of an exchange, it's never going to go off well. They need that smoke advantage. They need to get the initiation.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
So they have a smoke on them. I'm looking at the inventories. I can see a smoke for the Dire, yeah, like you pointed out, but I can't see one on the Radiant team. They need to be thinking about picking up those smokes. Because that's what you do when you're behind. You group up, you smoke, and you look for a pick-off. And then you might even get 1,000 gold if you get
Radiant's
one of these high target kills. So
Wind Ranger now looks like she wants the MKB. Pretty much outside of the Demon Edge, it's almost ready. That's another hero that's straight too close to the sun. The Glimmer Cape might just save her for now, though, as she can get under the base. Good play from the Warlock there, just saving her life.
I'd like to see Ezio picking up some of his own dust, basically, because you know these Glimmer Capes are the biggest.
Comes the Burrow onto the Spectre and the Veil can scream, but they're not quite ready to commit with it. That's a DP ult, but not going to hit much, as she's on the far right of the fight there, and the tower's gone. Nice Burrow Strike into the Wind Ranger, she is stunned, but out comes the Death Ward right onto the DP as well. Lifestealer trying to run around, trying to hit something, but Wind Ranger is just insta-giving heroes far too quickly. That's a 5-man wipe with only one buyback available. They're going to get some free buildings.
Radiant's top tower.
Yes, they are. This Wind Ranger is... It wasn't even last pick. It wasn't like a counter pick. It was third pick. Right, we're just going to pick our mid now because we're confident in the Wind Ranger. And yeah, they were right. I don't know if Ezio is renowned for his Wind Ranger play. Maybe he is, or he's just had a fantastic game. But either way, it's definitely created so much space and momentum. And now the Spectre pretty much can do what he wants to.
Maybe start investing. Maybe start investing some of that money into an arcade because this might be right up your road, Wind Ranger. Several $100 to be fair. You can't demand that out of everybody you ask for, but if you're going to be this good at the hero.
It is a nice cosmetic.
Oh, I could never miss an exclusive item. Sanking's going to do it again, is he? He's taken so much damage, the Glimmer might not even be enough because of the Orchid. Spectre's ulted, bashed the Lifestealer, just about gets inside a creep, but it's not enough. One core down. They want the Death Prophet, who's already half HP, and we know the Glimmer's on cooldown. Good stun from the Ogre, and the Burrow. 2 here is exposed now, but BKB on the Wind Ranger. It stops mattering. 1, 2, left, right, good night. And she's just gonna run forwards, just about. Well, as soon as the Burrow comes out, she wants to ult the Sand King, but that might be a bit too much. But all this rubbish going on over here is ignoring the fact that the tower just got lost on the middle lane. Wind Ranger is going to get stuck here. The 3-person group, not quite enough, as one more right click will take her down.
Wow.
142 gold. it's some consolation. It sure is some, but with kill bounties down on what they used to be, it might not be the end of the world. She does have her buyback in case some emergency happens out of this. We're
Underlord
still scrapping as Underlord trying to get out. He didn't succeed in his last Dark Rift. As Lifestealer dives, he's going to go for the Witch Doctor instead, which doesn't get him the kill. And they have quote unquote lost the Wind Ranger, but it's from such a place of advantage, and they're able to get everybody else out. But it's only a small consolation.
You can see from the fight recap that there were actually 3 buybacks in that fight from the Radiant. So as soon as they died, they immediately smacked their buyback button and ran back in. They kind of had no choice. They had to do it, but it means the net worth is even further in the dire advantage. 30k net worth at not even 30 minutes. It's nigh unwinnable for the Radiant at this point. If I had to analyze the game already, it would be they needed to just go as 5 a lot earlier. They have a much stronger team for the 5-man fighting in the early mid game, and that's what they need to do. And if they want to have a last-ditch effort at this game, they need to get smoke. It's the greatest item ever. Get smoke, 5-man, just charge in and hope to pick off the Wind Ranger. I think that's their last hope here.
Dota Plus says 100%.
Right, does it?
We're not even on the 90s. You actually see on the XP graph that there's a tiny leveling off that I'm sure that Vale of Discord will look at in the post-game and think, we did get that Wind Ranger indeed, but it does not really make up for everything that's happened so far. We're only just, this is quite funny actually, in that this Radiant team has only just picked up their 3rd tier 2 neutral item, of which we have rolled into the 3rd tier already. They've only picked up 2. 3 of them, they just got their Ring of a Killer, and there's still 1 more to drop. It didn't really hit neutrals when they needed to, and they're still carrying around some very old items. And Lifestealer was picked off, and now I think it's gonna be the DP next. Spectre ults in. Look at how much damage she just does to that Ogre. Smack, smack, smack. Oh, it's a Death Prop. It's just barely gonna live a little longer on the back of the Spirit Siphon, but it won't be enough. Sanking gonna try and exploit the invisibility, but it won't last forever. And Spectre hitting supports on the back line at the same time without any opposition. We've not even needed Wind Ranger to make any of this happen, as she just runs down mid and goes straight for the tier 4 towers. Down goes another, but Wind Ranger wanted that tier 4, but there was backdoor protection. It was a little bit hasty of her. Now she doesn't have focus fire for these barracks.
I think they're just going to go for the win. She's still focus firing the tier 4.
Well, now the backdoor's back, now that the creeps have been inching into bottom lane. Lifestealer is having fun, let's just say. He's having a lot of fun. He's having a great time there, raging in the back line.
I think it was a very tough game.
Out comes the Pepper onto the Spectre. Spectre might get the kill, but what about the Pepper? Wait, where's it gone? Where'd the Pepper go?
Can you Manta off the Pepper? I think you can. Maybe it's just a normal buff when you get
That's a
Manta it off.
play. That's a man to play. It's GG called for the Vela Discord team as Capital One's What's in Your Warlock tank the preseason CEA game. GG, baby, baby, baby.
GG.
32 minutes and a very consistent fight. As I pointed out in the draft, what they did is they picked that Spectre for late game, but they had a lot of tempo at the same time with the Wind Ranger. And the Wind Ranger wasn't just speed, she was pure speed. Lightning McQueen speed, one could say. 11-1 in that game.
I mean, that 11-1 was Pyro on the Spectre.
Yes, I kind of just changed the hero halfway through. 17-3 more like.
Even better, yeah, much better. If you look at the 10-minute mark, though, in the player net worth, the Spectre was actually at the top in the lead. So it wasn't like the Spectre needed, to just hang in there until the late game happened. Spectre was pretty firmly on top of the net worth, fighting, back and forth between the Wind Ranger to get that number 1 spot. But Pyro Trout, he was not struggling in his lane. He was getting kills. He only died once the entire game. He had a very early Midas. Just going to have a look at when he actually picked up that Midas. 12-minute Midas, and he had treads and 2 Wraith Bands. So he was not worried at all about the late game. And in my opinion, Spectre is a good pick against Lifestealer. I know Lifestealer likes to kill sort of tanky heroes, but Spectre is tanky in a way which Lifestealer is not that great against, because Spectre doesn't have a huge HP pool. So I think it was a hard game for Fan of Discord right from the get-go.
So, I'm looking at somebody's player averages because you asked. It's just someone that's renowned for their win ranger. Their average is I need to do 17 minus 4, 13 and 6, which is a pretty good average, KD. This was only considered 1 bar above average and not 2. So maybe someone does need to invest a little bit. As Witch Doctor far below average, though. Although Witch Doctor had a fantastic game, so I'm not sure what Dota's saying. Plenty of Stones and Maledicts, saved Spectre in that lane every time needed. Can't fault any member of that what's in your Warlock team, really. Although there were some great performances out of Fail of Discord. We have the Sand King was getting a lot of those stuns, and KD doesn't really reflect it, but a lot of the pickoffs that happened were because of the Sand King able to hit those stuns. Ogre was decently reliable, although just quite didn't have that impact. I can see what they were going for with a Death Prophet pick, but they weren't able to find the momentum to hit and break down towers, unfortunately.
I think the Death Prophet got the kill on Windranger in the mid lane. I was right in saying that, right? She got a one-on-one solo kill, so it looked pretty good for the lane. But unfortunately, Windranger just picked up very quickly after that. Got that Orchid, got some solo kills, and managed to get a focus fire kill between the tier 1 and the tier 2 tower, and pretty much just snowballed from there. Rotated, ganked, was fantastically present in every team fight, and just ran away with the game, basically.
I talked about why I don't like Windranger. That's why. Because if she gets a kill or two, like, what can you do against a Windranger focus firing and eating you?
Well, there are items. Like I said, we have the Yule set.
What are you doing in the moment? It feels bad. It feels really sad.
Well, you've got to have the items. The Glimmer Capes came out. I think at one point the Warlock picked one up, and it saved both himself and one of his team to save the Death Prophet. But I think they need to itemize against it a little bit quicker. And Death Prophet did go a Blade Mail after the Yules. Sand King, he wasn't after a Yules for himself. Lifestealer, he had nothing to get rid of the Orchid. Nothing at all. But it's not easy for Lifestealer to itemize to counter Orchid. So, yeah, it was a tough Lifestealer game. I know Muffins tried hard. You know, he did. He tried to do what he could. He fought against the Underlord. He did manage to get some last hits. But overall, it was a very tough game for the Lifestealer.
So that was one great start to the season, but this is only the pre-season. We have 16 weeks of die-hard competition down to determine the CEA champion. Plenty of fantastic companies all across America playing, each for their own unique charities as well. You'll see us the same time next week, where our team will bring you some more fantastic Dota 2 gameplay. That was a very cliche phrase. Let me try that again. Rewind it 1 sec. Bring you the real competition, where we're going to start the Swiss and lead down eventually into a grand final. I've been Howie, RallyingCry. Anything left to say at the end of this game?
No, just looking forward to some really high quality Dota and some competition between these teams from these big American corporations.
Before we sign off, we've been asked for MVPs, but I think we know what we're going to say. Windranger? ?
I think his play was just so consistent throughout the game that I couldn't really give it to anyone else, to be honest.
That's perfectly fine. So tune in next week for more as we begin the season proper. I've been Howie. This has been RallyingCry. Thanks for tuning in to the CEA preseason.
Pull me back, take my hand, call my name. You understand, I wanna stay. 'Cause I don't